This attack and other attacks on the Jewish community in 1920, 1921, 1929 were instigated by a call of the Mufti of Jerusalem, Amin al-Huseini, who was later sought for war crimes in the Nuremberg trials because he had a central role in fomenting the final solution. He flew to Berlin. Hitler didn't want to exterminate the Jews at the time. He wanted to expel the Jews. And Amin al-Huseini went to Hitler and said, if you expel them, they'll all come here. So what should I do with them? He asked. He said, burn them.
Thankfully, the plan to eliminate Israel was unsuccessfully then, just as it will be unsuccessfully today. It is solely about the destruction of Israel and the murder of Jews. Please look at this picture. This picture tells you everything you need to know about this conflict.
To offer them, either quietly or openly, depending upon the nature of the context.
8 days after he is greeted in Berlin by von Ribbentrop, the Grand Mufti has his long sought-after meeting with Adolf Hitler.
Hitler explained to him that he would ask every people in the Middle East to deal with their Jews and to solve the Jewish problem. And it was clear what he meant. He meant to organize another Holocaust in the Middle East.
At this point, the stage is pretty much set. The spotlight is shining on the eastern and western fronts of the war. The Ustasha is allied with the Bosnian Muslim SS units and has the backing of the Nazi party, and pretty much everyone outside the Balkans doesn't care what happens within. Ante Pavelic proceeds to publicly proclaim his racial policy on July 22nd, 1941.
شهر إبريل سنة 1941 قامت مجموعة من الضباط الوطنيين في العراق بثورة أطاحت بالنظام اللي كان موالي للإنجليز، وكانت مجموعة الضباط دي على اتصال بالألمان والإيطاليين، وقامت الحكومة العراقية الجديدة بتنسيق مع الألمان والإيطاليين للتواجد في البلاد والمساعدة في القيام بثورة شاملة أملا في القضاء تماما على النفوذ البريطاني في العراق. وتم الاتصال ما بين العراقيين والألمان عن طريق الشيخ أمين الحسيني المفتي العام للقدس، واللي كان بيعيش في العراق في الوقت ده. لكن طبعا الإنجليز ما عجبهمش إنه تم الإطاحة بالنظام الموالي ليهم، وكمان إن النظام الجديد يكون متعاون مع الألمان ودول المحور، فقامت بريطانيا بالتدخل العسكري في العراق لإفشال الثورة، وفي المقابل هدد هتلر بإرسال قوات من سلاح الجو الألماني والقوات الخاصة لمساندة الثورة العراقية، وكلف أحد كبار قادته العسكريين وهو هيلموت فيلمي أن يكون على رأس مهمة عسكرية سرية للعراق بغرض تكوين جيش من الجنود العرب تابع للقيادة الألمانية. ارتدت القوات دي الزي العسكري للجنود الألمان، وسميت القوات العربية الألمانية دي باسم الفيلق العربي الحر، وكانت بتتألف في غالبيتها من الجنود العراقيين والسوريين، وكانت بتضع شعار على الذراع باللغتين العربية والألمانية تقول بلاد العرب الحرة. حارب الفيلق العربي الحر تحت القيادة الألمانية في القوقاز واليونان ويوغوسلافيا وشمال إفريقيا، ومع الهزائم المتوالية للألمان في نهاية الحرب قام الأمريكيون بأسر مجموعة من الفيلق العربي الألماني في شمال إفريقيا سنة 1943. أما آخر ظهور للفيلق العربي فكان في أوروبا بعد هزيمة ألمانيا في الحرب، حيث تبعثر الفيلق العربي داخل النمسا وتشتت وانهار في شهر مايو سنة 1945.
Auschwitz-Birkenau was the largest extermination center created by the Nazis. It has become the symbol of the Holocaust and of willful radical evil in our time. The album you will see presented here is known as the Auschwitz album, and it is the only surviving visual evidence of the process of mass murder at Auschwitz-Birkenau. The album is unique. There is not a similar album of its kind in the entire world. It documents, in photos from every direction and from every angle, the arrival at Auschwitz, the selection of those slated for immediate death, and of the few who were destined to be slave laborers, the confiscation of their property, and the preparation for the physical annihilation of a transport of Jewish people. This transport of Hungarian Jews from the area of Carpatho-Ruthenia arrived at the ramp of the extermination camp Auschwitz-Birkenau in May 1944. In the photos, we see the men, women, and children step out of the overcrowded train, traumatized and fearful after their horrendous journey. They have no clue that they have just been delivered to a death factory and that few of them will survive. Survivor and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Elie Wiesel described his arrival as a teenager at Auschwitz. Every yard or so, an SS man held his gun trained on us. Hand in hand, we followed the crowd. Men to the left, women to the right. 8 words spoken, indifferently, without emotion. 8 short, simple words. For a part of a second, I glimpsed my mother and my sister moving to the right. I saw them disappear into the distance while I walked on with my father and the other men. I did not know that at that place, at that moment, I was parting from my mother and my sister forever. The selection process carried out by SS doctors and wardens took place 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as train after train unloaded its human cargo. Most Jews were sent immediately to the left, to their death. The undressing rooms of the gas chambers were not sufficient for the masses of Hungarian Jews who arrived daily in the summer of 1944. They therefore had to wait until the undressing rooms were ready to absorb them. The common waiting place was the grove closest to the crematorium that would soon turn their bodies to ash. They were told to sit among the trees and wait for further instructions. These were their last peaceful moments together before being driven into the gas chambers and murdered. It has been said that there will never be people as innocent as the victims on the threshold of the gas chambers. The SS kept the victims destined for gassing in complete ignorance of what lay in store for them. They were told that before being placed in the camp, they had to be disinfected and washed. They would soon discover that what they had assumed were the shower areas were actually hermetically sealed gas chambers. A minority of Jews was selected for forced labor. Their personal belongings were confiscated, their hair was shaved, and a registration number was tattooed on their left arm. In the words of survivor and author Primo Levi, "For the first time we became aware that our language lacks words to express this offense, the demolition of a man. It is not possible to sink lower than this. Nothing belongs to us anymore. They have taken away our clothes, our shoes, even our hair. If we speak, they will not listen to us, and if they listen, they will not understand. They will even take away our name, and if we want to keep it, we will have to find in ourselves the strength to do so." It is in this way that one can understand the double sense of the term extermination camp. The work of sorting the possessions that the Jews brought with them to Auschwitz was done by Jewish prisoners who were forced to collect the packages and sort the items that would then be sent to the Reich. By the time the sorting was completed, most of the previous owners were already dead. No memory of the men, women, and children that were deemed valueless upon their arrival remains in camp records. This album is the sole witness to their fate. The Auschwitz album was discovered after the war by Lily Jacob, a survivor of the transport pictured here. Lily gave the album to Yad Vashem, where she knew that its tragic contents would be safeguarded for posterity and shared with generations to come.